Hello everyone, this is Sibel Edmonds continuing with my new Operation Gladio B series. A few months ago, I published a brief presentation on my book, The Lone Gladio, a Fiction. I told you why I had to resort to fiction writing, to overcome years of futile battles with the FBI to lift its blanket of secrecy and classification on information people have the right to know. As a side note, there are two main figures from the FBI involved in both the invocation of gag orders and state secrets privilege and heading numerous court cases in my nearly 2 decades-long battle. Their names and signatures appear in all my court documents, including my state secrets and FOIA cases. You can find all these documents if you run a simple search on the internet. Now let's hear from Robert Mueller in Congress in regards to my case and state secrets privilege.
Okay, Director, but let's say that fails, and we have a situation where, like Sybil Edmonds, how does her plight change? How does she deal with the invocation of the state secrets privilege? How does she have any recourse?
Well, I can't get into the rationale behind asserting the state secrets privilege in that particular case. It's a matter that was sealed by the court. But in that case as well, the case was investigated independently, and actions that were necessary to be taken as a result of the investigation as to individuals in the FBI have been taken.
Mr. Chairman, if I just may, but with respect to somebody facing the same situation, they would face the same outcome. Is that correct?
It depends on the circumstances of the case.
Okay.
As you can see, I had no choice but to become a fiction writer, the only way left to tell the truth and inform people who value their right to know. Writing The Lone Gladio as book one of a trilogy was my only way. For anyone interested in knowing about Operation Gladio B, synthetic terrorism created by CIA-NATO clandestine operations via extremist Muslims-clad terror cells, The Lone Gladio is the only book available today. My book begins with a hard-hitting chapter, Chapter 1, on how terrorist bombers are created and directed. The background in the case, a horrifying terror plot by an Operation Gladio B Azerbaijani cell targeting Russia via a Chechen woman coerced into being a terrorist bomber. And since I'm currently presenting episodes on the Russia-Chechen conflict, directed and fortified by Operation Gladio B, I think it would be appropriate to read a few pages from my book, The Lone Gladio, Chapter 1. Bear with me if I sound a bit nervous as I read from my book. I've never done this in a recording. I'm one of those people who cannot stand looking at her own picture, hearing her own voice, and reading from her own books. I don't know why, but I have that phobia. Okay, at least this section will be only for my Newsbud community members, in some ways my partners and family for over a decade. I know it may sound like a sales pitch, but I have to emphasize how important it is to read The Lone Gladio, the only book on, in a way, a crash course 101 on what is Operation Gladio B, how it's executed, by whom, and how it is the macro fact book on cases from ISIS and Chechen terrorism through the September 11 attacks and the Boston Marathon bombing. Those of you who are interested in this new series and more than 500 exclusive video presentations, over 100 archived podcast series I have produced myself, and hundreds of written articles and analysis, you can access all that and coming presentations by subscribing to Newsbud. This is Sibel Edmonds for Newsbud, currently reporting from Turkey, and thank you all.